Now, as you will hear in detail this morning, 3,000 new jobs and a £90 billion nuclear investment are outlined in the Economic Blueprint, put together by partners in Britain's energy coast. Alongside this, great consideration is given to the importance of good quality schools and healthcare, sufficient choice and quality of housing, a modern transport infrastructure and a supportive planning policy framework. So, to kick things off, please would you welcome the Vice Chairman of Britain's Energy Coast and Senior Vice President of URS, Gerry McGill.
Thank you, Kim. Good morning, welcome to a good crowd for a really good day in prospect. So this is a welcome for you today to mark the launch of the West Cumbria Economic Blueprint. It's particularly satisfying to see, so many business leaders here, both from small, medium enterprises, local businesses, and indeed into the multinationals. It's important that you're here today because it will be the private sector that will drive the transformation of the West Cumbria economy into a diverse, resilient, and low-carbon, sustainable economy. Britain's Energy Coast is here to help you, as best we can, to achieve this, and the blueprint articulates where we will focus our investments over the next 15 years. The task is hugely varied, which is why we are very crystal clear on how we will support businesses and the local economy. As Jamie Reid has said, the vision for Britain's Energy Coast is the most exciting economic prospect in the history of West Cumbria. But it's now its time to deliver. This blueprint articulates how we can turn this vision into a reality and how we can turn big words into big actions.
So we couldn't do this morning without inviting some young people here. I'm delighted that we've got a team here from Cockermouth School, which I'm proud to say was my old school, and they're going to give us their perspective on how they think Cumbria should be.
Many young people are under the impression that West Cumbria doesn't offer many opportunities for them, just simply because they're not made aware of them. And I think it's important that young people are more involved in the community and that they're made aware of the chances within it, because there are a lot and we're very lucky here. The area is perceived by many as not offering very much, offering a narrow choice of careers, and I think a lot of people are under the impression that if their career lies outside of the nuclear, agricultural or tourism industry, then they must go elsewhere.
I'm Megan, and I think it's vital that GCSE pupils are given career information for the future. At present, Year 10s and 11s are taught basic information about future jobs. However, it's very generalised and does not point out local companies that offer these jobs.
I'm Will, and I want to talk about one of the key features young people would want in this blueprint. This points to the huge need for good quality infrastructure to attract not only more jobs, but to keep young people in this area of West Cumbria.
Hello, I'm Annie, and I believe West Cumbria would benefit greatly from better internet connection. However, while we see adverts like BT Infinity 2, Virgin Media and so on, Cumbria has no access to any of these faster connections. Furthermore, better travel connections are needed, trains, airports and more. Without these, Cumbria's growth is restricted and we should not receive the businesses the rest of the country does. I think that without these larger, better known, more diverse businesses, young people such as myself will not come back to West Cumbria, instead moving away to where there are more opportunities.
Hi, I'm Stephen, and it's evident to me that the nuclear industry plays a key role in bringing investment into West Cumbria. However, I think that medical care and education should still be priorities. and we as pupils would like to see investment in these areas over the next 15 years. For example, would we have access to the medical facilities in West Cumbria to be able to cope with, say, a nuclear accident? Furthermore, I feel that investment in local schools will be needed, for we, as the youth of today and the emerging workforce of tomorrow, can only reach our full potential with the right education. And if I'm going to come back here, I want to know that my children, our generation's children, will be receiving the best possible education.
I do understand the importance of nuclear energy to both West Cumbria and the country, but I also feel that because of the natural resources and the technological expertise available to us here, we should begin to develop the use of renewable energy.
Okay, next up, I'd like to introduce the Acting Chief Executive of Britain's Energy Coast. Please welcome Tom Gilroy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how you feel after listening to those Year 10 speak, but I'm telling you now, I feel very humble and I feel very proud. And whenever I question myself as to why I'm doing the job I'm doing and why I'm stood here today talking about the blueprint, whenever I question myself, I just have to listen to inspirational young people like those we've just heard speaking, and it makes the whole thing worthwhile. And I would just like to do another round. This is what the blueprint is about. It's a strategy to address the challenges and maximise the opportunities that West Cumbria is facing over the next 15 years.
West Cumbria stands at the fork in the road. It's arguably the most critical time in the history of the area as we know it, and we're faced with one of two futures. We either understand that we very quickly need to make the right decisions with the right partners, and in my opinion the deep underground repository is critical in all of this, and by doing so secure the public services, the life opportunities, the economic growth in this area that will be the envy of the country, or we refuse to take those decisions, we refuse to undertake the necessary actions, and so we willingly become the architects of our own demise. So the fundamental message is, and Gerry touched upon this briefly, there's no room for business as usual, and the blueprint ushers in a new culture for all of us, a new culture of delivery, a new culture of working together.
And what this occasion is not about Allerdale, Copeland, his constituency, my constituency, it's about West Cumbria. And when we're talking about the blueprint, we're talking about West Cumbria in its entirety. Just want to make one or 2 points, and Jeremy alluded to them. We're not starting from scratch. It's important to remember we're not starting from scratch. We're building on our competitive advantages. We have strong manufacturing. And I'll go through a small list, I don't want to miss anyone out, but when we talk about M-Sport, Walkers, New Balance, Igison, what was Ectona, Innovia, Amcor, and the list goes on and on and on. We have an incredibly strong manufacturing base. We have world-class research, an enviable international reputation, top-class schools, and I'm not just picking out Cockermouth School because I taught at Nether Hall for many, many years, which has improved enormously, and we have incredible schools in West Cumbria. But I quote the figures for Cockermouth, not just because they're sat here, because it surprised and does surprise a lot of people. If I were to tell you that at Cockermouth School, sixth form, they have 94 A-level students doing physics, and over 100 doing maths or applied maths. 94 A-level students doing physics. I bet there isn't another school in the country that has so many A-level students doing physics. And it's here in West Cumbria. And for the first time in the history of this area, and I was speaking at the college, the Lakes College this morning, a young person, not just from Cockermouth, but from Mary, Port Egreham and Cleedham, who are working from wherever in West Cumbria, a young person can go to school, go to college, go to university, go on and do a PhD, and never leave West Cumbria.
We, as a community of people who live and operate in this area, we don't have to accept things as the way they are, and we can change those things if we want to. And I think that the challenge that we face in terms of getting smart ideas to the coalface is there's a lot of fog that sits around from the coalface, the problem, through to people who can maybe help to provide that. And if we can clear some of the fog, and I think this is process and procedure stuff, then I think then the problem starts to look a little bit clearer to the outside world. And you know, the problems that you face in your work area and across the Sellafield site, I mentioned in my speech, are world class as problems. We've got world class problems. And if we can lift the fog around them a little bit, so that those outside can see them with a bit more clarity, I suspect you might find that there are a lot more people out there who might have actually a bit more incision in terms of what you might do. So there's no easy answer to your question. It's not a magic bullet. If there had been, there's bright enough people here who would have solved it by now.
This document for me is about a couple of things really. It's about economic growth and it's about creating jobs, and the two are synonymous and interlinked. But it's also about change. It's about cultural change. It's about diversification. We've heard about that. It's about really a step change in the way we see ourselves and the external world sees us.
The NDA was supportive of the Energy Coast from the start. We were one of the original funders of it, and we provided some of the funding along with other people for the original studies that led to the Energy Coast being established in the first place. And we remain very involved in it. I think it's a great opportunity, and David said something about it previously, for people to come together and work together for the greater good of the area. There are lots of different groups with lots of different accountabilities and sometimes different aspirations and drivers. But I think the more we come together in partnership and a common degree of focus, I think we'll get a better overall outcome than the whole range of groups trying to do things together.
We in this room have heard the requests that have come from these young people today about having a clear, ambitious future, something for them and those that come after them to aspire to. So I think it's up to us, taking away from here, to move forward, take this blueprint for what it is, it's a direction, but take it, implement it, and let's be talking in 2 years' time when we're celebrating Professor Fyfe's retirement, that there'll be something really good to show. And thank you very much.